All right, let's just get right to it. We're tackling a massive question today, one that's kind of shaking up the entire tech world. Is AI really going to mean the end of coding as we know it? You know, for decades, the advice was crystal clear, right? If you wanted a solid, high-paying career in tech, the path was obvious. Learn to code. It was like the new gold rush, the absolute golden ticket.
But now we have AI, and it's exploding onto the scene. And suddenly, that whole promise feels a little shaky. So that's the big, scary question we're going to dig into. Are software engineers, the people who build our digital world, are they actually becoming obsolete?
And look, this isn't some sci-fi movie stuff we're talking about for 20 years down the line. Check out this quote. It sums up what's happening right now. People who have never written a line of code in their life are building real functional apps just by talking to their computer in plain English. I mean, think about that. The revolution isn't coming, it's already here.
Okay, to really get what's going on, you have to realize this isn't coming out of nowhere. It's actually the next logical step. Think of it like this. Programming has always been about making it easier for us humans to talk to computers. We started with literal punch cards, basically feeding the machine ones and zeros directly. Then we got assembly language, a little better, then came high-level languages like Python, way more human-friendly. Each step was a new layer of abstraction, hiding the messy hardware details. So, what's AI? It's just the ultimate layer of abstraction, maybe the final one.
So what does this new superpower actually look like for developers? Let's jump into our first section, the AI superpower. We're talking about the rise of the 10x developer. For any developer who's willing to jump on board, the benefits are just huge. We're talking about prototyping ideas at a speed that was unimaginable just a few years ago. Costs are dropping like a rock, but maybe the biggest thing is what it does for creativity. Instead of spending hours hunting down a missing semicolon or some tedious syntax error, you're freed up to think about the big stuff, the core logic, the overall architecture. That's a total game changer.
And this really paints the picture, doesn't it? This is the new reality we're talking about. A single senior developer, armed with a team of AI agents, can now achieve the same output, or even more, than an entire traditional team. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in what productivity even means.
Okay, but it can't all be sunshine and roses, right? Of course not. And this is where things get really interesting. Let's talk about the black box dilemma. It's time to peel back the hype and look at the gritty reality of using this stuff in a real business. So here's the perception versus the reality. The hype, what you see on social media or in a demo, is, wow, look, I generated a Python script in 5 seconds. That's cool. But honestly, it's a bit of a party trick. The reality, for a serious enterprise, is trying to build something like a secure, scalable, HIPAA-compliant healthcare application. And let me tell you, those two things are not even in the same universe.
And that's because there are some really serious hidden risks here. First off, what happens when things go wrong? Think about it. A system crashes at 3 a.m. and you have to debug this super complex code that no human being on your team actually wrote. That's a nightmare. Then you've got security holes. AI can hallucinate, which is a nice way of saying it can just make stuff up, and it might pull in flawed or vulnerable code from its training data. And finally, there's what we call architectural blindness. And AI is great at writing one little piece of the puzzle, a single function. But ask it to design the whole puzzle box, it just can't see the big picture.
So all of this leads to the question that's probably on everyone's mind. What does this mean for jobs, for actual careers? Let's get into it. This is the Great Job Reshuffle and its real economic impact. The reality is, this isn't going to affect everyone the same way. Not at all. There's a huge split happening. On one side, you have the highly vulnerable roles. We're talking entry-level stuff, basic web page coding, fixing minor bugs, the repetitive tasks that AI is getting really good at. But on the other side, demand for certain roles is just exploding. Senior engineers, system architects, security experts. The value of these people is going through the roof. Why? Because they're the strategic thinkers.
And here's the fundamental reason for that split, and it's so important to grasp. AI lacks context. It's a fantastic tool for generating syntax, but it has zero understanding of the why behind the code. It doesn't get your business goals, it doesn't understand how a real user is going to interact with the product, it certainly doesn't know anything about legal compliance. For all of that, you still need a human brain making the strategic calls.
All right, so let's tie this all together and figure out what it all means. This brings us to our final section, adapt or be replaced, the future of the software engineer.
So let's go back to that question we started with. Is this the end of the software engineer? The answer is absolutely not. But, and this is the part you really need to hear, it is the end of the coder in the traditional sense. It's the end of the job where your main value is just being a human translation machine, turning specifications into syntax.
The engineer of the future looks totally different. They're more like a conductor of an orchestra of AIs. They're a strategic thinker who guides the AI agents, who carefully reviews and audits the code they produce, and who knows how to stitch all those machine-generated pieces together into a coherent system that actually solves a real human problem. The job isn't about writing every single line anymore. It's about directing, editing, and owning the final product.
And really, it all comes down to this. This is the thought I want to leave you with. The AI itself isn't going to take your job, but a developer who knows how to wield AI like a weapon, oh yeah, they certainly will. So the question we all have to ask ourselves now isn't just, can you code? It's, can you lead an army of AI agents to build something amazing?